should you choose to accept it, is to get the document and bring Anna Kirkoska to safety.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Quiver. Since Mission Impossible Fallout is 4 weeks away and is one of my most anticipated films of the year, I absolutely cannot wait. I've decided to review the previous Mission Impossible movies that I never got a chance to do so on this channel, because Mission Impossible is one of my favorite active franchises that I respect and admire so freaking much. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Mission Impossible, a movie that came out when I was pretty much 1 year old, because the movie dropped 1996 and I was born in 1995. So I was pretty much 1 year old, so obviously I had no clue about this movie. When I got older, I saw it on TV and I loved it. You know, I became a huge fan of it. And every time a movie dropped, I was always into it. It's one of my childhood movies, childhood action films that I kind of look forward to and watch on repeat. Tom Cruise and Will Smith were my favorite Hollywood actors growing up, and Tom Cruise is still on top of his game with the movies that he's been doing lately. He does have some misfires, but Tom Cruise always gives his 100%. And this movie was the start of a franchise. You know, before this, prior to this, I would say that Tom Cruise wasn't known to be an action star. You know, he was doing Risky Business, Top Gun. He had some few moments here and there, but nobody really thought that he could pull off a role like Ethan Hunt based on what I've read. The best thing Mission Impossible did, even more so than the other ones that came out afterwards, is the espionage aspect being very keen, and the overall story really focuses on the team and the character development of Ethan Hunt facing new difficulties and challenges, and him not always being 10 steps ahead. You know, you get to see a lot of vulnerability with Ethan Hunt that we don't get to see it anymore, because, you know, he's pretty much the king right now. You know what I'm saying? He knows his ways out, he knows what to do, he knows what he needs to do. But in this movie, you can see the conflict. You know, he's confused, he's not sure about it, he sees what's going on and he doesn't want to understand it. He's like, why is this happening? What's going on? That conflict of him maturing himself. You can see his confidence level and his decision-making skills evolves, and he becomes an actual leader. You get to see the Ethan Hunt that we love so much now, but you see how that came to be with situations that he was put in. So that was so brilliantly directed and performed by Tom Cruise. One of the things that really shocked me, and it still shocks me every single time I watch the movie holds up so well even today. I watched the movie yesterday, you know, preparing for my review, and the way the movie looks still looks fantastic, still looks like a reference movie, and a reference movie for people to study and understand how to make an espionage spy type of a movie. The execution of this movie is so classic that it's gonna stay evergreen forever, because every time I watch it, I actually get surprised myself, even though I've seen the movie multiple amount of times, because I'm just like blown away that this still looks great. I still feel the intensity. That speaks to the greatness of the overall film and the filmmaking behind it. Another thing I love every single time I watch this movie is the score and the way it would utilize in moments. It's truly special. When you watch the movie, Danny Elfman did a wonderful job, because there's some sequences where there's actually no score, and that was probably the best way to do it. The way the movie immerses you within that Mission Impossible title is truly special. Another key moment that I love the way the Mission Impossible theme was utilized was at the climax train sequence. When Tom Cruise jumps on the helicopter, Danny Elfman plays the Mission Impossible theme. It was just pure perfection. Every single time that moment happens, I get chills, I get goosebumps throughout my entire body. I love it so freaking much. It's just so perfect. The timing is so perfect. It's truly wonderful, especially when the entire sequence ends, and the way it ends and the shot, and you see this other guy pops out behind the window and Danny Elfman actually plays a subtle score at that moment is just pure perfection. One of the biggest highlight of this film is actually the narration and the exhibition sequences. Usually, that's actually kind of considered as a flaw in most movies where when characters are just explaining a situation. But in Mission Impossible, you're looking forward to it. You want to know what is this mission going to be like and feel like. You want to be prepared, as well as the people, the team itself is getting prepared for that mission. Once again, the way Brian De Palma directed this movie allows it to still shine and be refreshing and exciting even in 2018 after all these exposure of spy movies. One thing that nowadays spy films lack is actually forcing the audience to actually think along with the film. Like most of the times nowadays, spy movies are a little bit giving. They easily give the audience to understand the film, which is fine. But what Mission Impossible did was actually made you pay attention to every single dialogue, every single expression a character makes. And those kind of filmmaking is what I admire the most, because that shows the brilliance of making a blockbuster movie, yet making it legit and very grounded within the scenario. The scenes where Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt breaks down scenarios by looking at stuff and putting all of the pieces together shows true brilliance of the writing, directing, and performance. And there's one particular moment where with Jim, it would be kind of a spoiler, so if you haven't seen the movie, I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil this small part. You can skip like 20 seconds if you want, where Tom Cruise realizes that Jim is the traitor, right? But Jim is naming somebody else. So you get to see Tom Cruise actually putting all of the pieces together, but he's actually putting the right pieces together while Jim is thinking, oh, Tom Cruise is falling for the lie he's telling. And the way that was shot and directed and executed was truly brilliant, because even after that, even after you see Tom Cruise's way of thinking, the dialogue comes after could confuse you because, wait, what just happened? So you gotta keep paying attention to the dialogue and the conversation so you fully get what was actually happening. The brilliance behind this movie is actually underrated, because not many people mentions the first Mission Impossible movie among the great spy films, when it comes to a conversation or even in a general film sense of a great movie. People don't really bring this movie up that much, but when you actually sit down and watch it again, you'll be surprised of how smart and clever, and you can actually make a blockbuster movie not dumbed down to the audience. You can actually make a complex blockbuster film, and Mission Impossible proved that. And this movie broke box office records when it came out. I think it broke the opening weekend for Jurassic Park and some of the iconic movies that people still love and talk about today. Mission Impossible 1 broke it in the opening weekend. That's crazy. And I feel like even though Mission Impossible franchise is beloved, but the greatness of Mission Impossible 1 isn't always been talked about as much as I think it should. I absolutely love this movie. Every single time I watch it, I just admire it. Every single frame, I'm just admiring it. Man, I love this movie. So, with that being said, guys, my rating towards this film, this movie does indeed enters the GOAT level. Greatest of all time level. This is one of my all-time favorite films, and I think it deserves so. And I hope more people goes back and revisits this movie. I love it. I adore it. That's my rating towards it, the highest of it all. Let me know what y'all thought of it on the comments down below. And if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out afterwards. And if you're watching this review after revisiting it, hey, I hope you loved it as much as I did. So let me know, where do you guys actually rank Mission Impossible among the rest? And I will be doing the rest of the Mission Impossible movies weekly. I already done Rogue Nation, so I won't be doing that one, but everything else, you guys can expect a review towards it. So if y'all enjoyed this review, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't already, definitely subscribe and make sure to hit that notification bell button. And as for always, thank y'all so much for watching, and see you on my next one. Salute.